Hi, everybody. So, um, yeah, last week was a rough one. So I wanna thank everybody so much, for your love and support. Last week was a rough one. Um, and Lemon was a sweet, ornery, old guy, and I will miss him. I will miss him a lot. He definitely left a big space in my heart. Yeah. Um, so, but with me, um, I hate empty cages. And because to me, an empty cage means it kind of exemplifies the hole in my heart. And plus, whenever I go to bed, get up in the morning, or leave the house, I like to go down the line and say hi or whatever to everybody. And so it was like, so I'd say, say goodbye to goodbye parakeets, and then goodbye finchies, and then I'd get to Lemon's cage, and nothing. There's nobody there, and it's just you stop and you're like, and then you force yourself to keep going. Hi Milo, hi RC, so on. So Tuesday or so of last week, I went online. My what I was thinking was find another old, elderly, aging cockatiel who needed a new home to spend his or her retirement years in. That was my thinking. So I went online and I checked local humane societies, and I don't think any of them are even open right now. So then I did some more Googling and searching and whatever, and I finally found a rescue parrot place about an hour from my house, and they had a number of birds up for adoption, various types, including one or two Moluccans. Yeah, one was like wild caught. It's like, holy cow, that hasn't been legal in this country since 91. So, and I don't know how tame or anything, but you really don't want to deal with wild caught. Not that I'm in the market for a cockatoo or anything. But they did have a 20-year-old female Indian ring-necked parakeet named Joy. And I was like, oh, that'd be pretty cool. So I sent an email to inquire more information, and didn't hear back. And finally, 2 days later, I got a message saying that their reply was not deliverable. And I was like, well, that's strange because I get emails all the time. So then I emailed back saying, this is what happened. Is there another way of getting a hold of you? Well, I quickly got a response back saying that my email was not deliverable. I'm like, So then I went back to the website and saw that there was another email address. So I was like, well, let's try this. And there was also a phone number. So I tried the other email address. Didn't hear back. Finally, I got a reply, and she said, yeah, I found your email in my spam folder. And so we emailed back and forth a couple times, and finally made an appointment for Monday for me to come come look at Joy. And of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, I am not leaving without, I'm hoping this goes good, because I really want to come home with a bird. I don't like empty cages. I want a bird in that cage. And I want, I want to give a bird a home who doesn't have one, the whole 9 yards. So, so Monday, I get there, and I walk into this little, kind of a small building, and in the middle, it's like one room. So in the middle of the room was, I'd say, 12 bird cages, and then the entire perimeter of the room was jam-packed, full of bird stuff, cages, perches, toys, you name it, and a lot of it used, like chewed up, and so on. Obviously, the birds that they have gotten in over the years came with cages and toys, and maybe they've been getting stuff from garage sales. I have no idea, and they've just been collecting this stuff, for people adopting birds who don't have. I don't know. I don't know. We didn't really talk about all that. So I walk in, and right away there's this cage with inside was a blue-fronted Amazon, and I look at him, and he's giving me the once-over, and the thing written on this cage said that he likes men. But he's just kind of looking at me, So I'm talking to the person, to the gal, and then so he was kind of behind me like this, and I'm talking to her, and the whole time I'm talking, I could hear this behind me, kind of like echoing my words, kind of like what RC does, and finally I turned around, and I said, "I can hear you," and and then his cage was a double-decker cage. So down below was an African gray, and then the next cage over was a townhouse cage. So there was a partition was this way, and on either side was each side had a female eclectus. Both of them were in various stages of feather plucking. The one on the right, in fact, was mainly gray fuzz, fluff feathers, and spent a lot of time eating. The one on the left just kind of sat there, and then the cage after that had a military macaw, which I've never seen in person. So that was cool. And then across from them was across from the blue-fronted was cage with 4 or 5 cockatiels. One of them was really pretty. It was a white-faced pied, and very, very, very pretty. But and then next to that cage was 2 lovebirds. Next to that cage was a different mutation of a green-cheeked that was on hold because it had just been found like a couple weeks ago. And so they were still seeing if the owner would come forward and say, I'm looking for my bird before they adopt them out. They said, really nice bird. And then after that cage was Joy's cage. And then there was another cage after that one. And then behind Joy, behind all of them, were all the macaw cages. And most of them were blue and gold. One was a green-winged, and more than half of them were in various forms of feather plucking. The green wing was particularly bald. Very sad. Of course, we're talking the whole time, and of course, as we keep talking, you hear this, macaws are not quiet birds. And so sometimes it was hard to hear each other, but So finally she left me alone so I could meet Joy. And you could say Joy was absolutely not impressed at all with me. She kept her back to me the whole time. She kind of turned her head so she could look at me, but she didn't move. She was just, she had showed no interest whatsoever in me and the fact that I was, standing there. And at one point I went to go look at something, so I walked away. When I came back, she had turned around, so now she was facing forward. But as soon as I stood there in front of her, she turned back around again. And so I kept talking to her, and then she pinned her eyes a couple of times, and I know that's usually not good either. So I'm thinking, this is not going well. So it's like, do I just keep talking to her? Is this, I know birds don't like new people. They don't like change. So is this, a situation where I take her home and then she would warm up to me eventually, or never warm up to me, and she just lives in my house instead of here? And, whatever. All this is going through my head. I finally realized that her neighbor on the right is desperately trying to get my attention. And hanging in the corner of the cage as close to me as possible, banging on the cage door, making little squawking noises, and just clamoring and quivering and trying to, it's like, hey, over here. So I started looking at that one, and so I kind of went back and forth, and then all of a sudden I was like, maybe I'm not here for Joy. Maybe I'm supposed to be looking at this one. And but then of course, I started thinking, well, can I bring home both? But it's like, I don't think my cage is big enough for that, and who knows if they'd even get along, much less with RC. And so I'm just going, I'm feeling guilt. I actually was feeling guilty, even considering this other bird versus Joy, because that would mean I have to leave Joy there. And especially after she told me that this was Joy's second rescue place, because she, they're having trouble finding someone to take her. And finding the person who, while I was talking to Joy, another staff member came in and started walking around with this giant bag of popcorn and started handing out handfuls of it to all the birds. And as soon as Joy saw that, she all of a sudden came to life and started shrieking this really, really loud, high-pitched scream. Like that, only much, much, much louder. And I'm thinking, I don't think my mom will like that. So I'm really getting doubts that this is a good idea, but so all kinds of things are going through my head. So finally the person who I've been talking to, she points to the Joy's neighbor, and would you like to see this bird? I'm like, yeah, okay. So she gets him out, and the three of us go into the bathroom. She transfers the bird onto my shoulder, and then leaves the room. And I sit down on the toilet seat or the toilet lid, and we sat there for a good, I don't know, half hour. I didn't keep track of time because my watch battery died and jewelry stores aren't open, so hopefully soon. And so we talked, and the longer we talked, his squawking got less and less, and volume came down, and finally he just kind of just was sitting there, and I'm thinking, I think this bird is the reason why I'm here, not for Joy, because this bird is obviously having a much more fun time than Joy was. And so we sat there, I don't know, what's it? Could have been a half hour, could have been an hour, I don't know. I even took some pictures. I don't take selfies. I'm not a selfie person, but I was taking a picture of him, and I kind of got in the shot. But anyway, so guess who I went home with? So I'm gonna go get him. I don't know if you've been hearing him. I'm gonna go get him and tell you more. So I'm gonna turn around so you can watch, and hopefully this goes well. So. So this is Kiki, Keekee, and this is a Hans macaw, HAHN''S, if you want to look him up. And he is, well, they don't know if it's a he or she, but they're going on, we're assuming he's a he until he lays an egg. Then I guess we'll have to change it, but so we're going on the assumption that's a male. He's about 15 years old. His previous owner died, and the owner's son, he took the dogs, but he didn't want to keep this bird, so he became available for adoption. Kiki likes being on my shoulder. He loves shoulder time. Spent several hours there yesterday. He will do this for a while, and then eventually, sorry, I keep forgetting to look at the camera. He eventually calms down to more quiet. Let's see. So he's been here. Today will be his second full day. We have heard him say "pretty bird." We did, didn't we? Did we hear you say "pretty bird"? We've heard him say "pretty bird." We've heard him bark 2 different ways, obviously, because there were two dogs there. There's that sound, which sounds like a squeaky toy. And then there's 2 or 3 different kinds of squawks, at least. And then there's one that everybody likes. I'm hoping he'll do it while he's sitting here, but there's no guaranteed. That's kind of a trill, kind of a, and that's my best imitation of it. But yeah, he's been sleeping through the night, and yesterday morning, My father opened up the blinds and he gave several rousing good morning screeches. And this morning, as far as I know, he did not do that. Right? And I do have pictures of his first meet with RC through the bars. That situation has calmed down a lot too. So I'm gonna bend the tablet here to show you what's going on the floor here. There's this. Yeah, right there. She's staring very intently at him. And she does that a lot. So, yesterday I ordered on Amazon it's a cloth that covers up your shoulders, kind of like a bib, I guess, but Velcro's in the front, because, let me turn around. That was from yesterday. Uh-oh. Hold on. We're back. Everything's good. Everybody's back where they're supposed to be. So, and he's hiding. So, back here he comes. Are you gonna hide under my hair? Okay. So, as the title says, a new chapter begins. I looked up lifespan of these guys, and I got everything from 30 to 50 years. So he's 15. So hopefully he'll be here for quite a while. And my goal is to see what I've been doing is, so I close the top of the cage and keep him in there, and then let him out for several hours during the day, sit on my shoulder. And then while that's going on, then I reopen up the top of the cage so RC can go in there and do what he normally does. He's got his own napping spot in there, and he's got a bell in there he likes to play. And none of these things he can have access to is when the top is shut. So I open up the top, let RC in to do what he normally, what he likes to do. Keep him happy, and then when time is right, then I put him back in, close the top, and and my goal is to gradually have him join the others outside of the cage, and then eventually be able to leave the top open all the time, like I always have. That way. RC can go in and out as he wants, and hopefully no one will eat anybody. So, right. I also need to invest in some earplugs. I think we have cotton balls. I think that would work too. Milo is pretty much unaffected by all this, other than getting spooked off, but he's kind of a scaredy bird anyway, so anything can scare him off. So although the first night Milo was sitting on the Boeing perch, I was heading for bed, he was in his cage, the roof is shut, and I like for Milo to be in his cage, to be in bed when I go to bed. That way I can lock the door and I know he's safe, because there's been a few nights where he's refused to go to bed, and I went to bed, and then at some point during the middle of the night I hear him hitting the wall as he's flying around and whatever. So I got to get out of bed and rescue him and get him into his cage. So I prefer that he go to bed before I do. And so he's sitting there on his boing perch, and he's like rocking back and forth like he's all nervous, and I'm like, you gotta come to get to bed, So of course Daisy was all weirded out because she kept staring at me like, what did you bring home? And so I'm trying to show Milo that it's time to go to bed. So I bring Daisy to our bed, whatever. He's still sitting on that perch. Finally, I realize, as I told my father, you have to know your birds. I finally realized that Milo, when he goes to bed every night, he takes the exact same pathway from the roll perch. He takes the exact same pathway, this never changes to get to inside his cage. He's got a whole routine down. And with the door, and part of that routine is he comes down off the boing perch onto the white plastic perch that holds up the rooftop. That was shut. So there's no white perch. So he's sitting there like pacing back and forth on this rope, like I can't get down. So I was like, okay, that means I'm gonna have to open it up with him in there. This is our first night. I don't know how this is gonna go, but I was like, but he's got to go to bed. So I opened it up. I put the perch in, and I never saw him move faster. He got down. He got down, moved over, up and over and around, and in his cage. And obviously he was pretty desperate. It's like, oh, finally. So as soon as he did that, I closed the cage top back up and grabbed Daisy and said, because by now Daisy had jumped back down off the bed, and I said, okay, good night, everyone. So last night I noticed Milo put himself to bed like way before that. So he didn't have to go through that. So also the first night there was a lot of I don't know if it was fighting or arguing, or I don't know what it was between the two greenies. But there's been a lot less of that, so I don't know. So if I can have him be out and about like RC, I don't know if that's, I don't know. It may be that he's going to have to be there and just have him out once or twice a day for several hours. Just because if they can't get along, he obviously is a bigger bird, and could do damage. And so I'll have to work on that. See how that goes. So see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, I wanted to point out the fact that Kiki has those red feathers on his shoulders, and they're also on, if you were to open up his wing, there'd be on like, this is our stick that we use to catch birds with. On the inside of his wings here, there's all those red feathers, and then when he closes his wing, they're on like his little epaulets. RC has exactly the same thing, same color, same spot. They're my favorite feathers of his. So as far as geography goes, if you check it out, if you Google Hans, these guys are from a much bigger geography area. Brazil, I can't remember now. I think it's Chile, Brazil, all the way up to I don't know if Ecuador. I don't know, but it's just this big area. Black caps are from two very small regions, partly, I think partly Ecuador and partly, I don't know, I should know this. I don't remember. So it's very possible that they do share a similar region. So, this was so I couldn't wait to tell you all of this, but I wanted to do it by video and introduce you guys. I have 30 days to decide if he will work out or not, and then return him, but I think things are going well. I might clip his wings just to just so he learns how things are, and then as they grow back, the cut feathers molt out, and then the new ones grow in. Then reevaluate, and see if he can, if things can be successful with him flighted, as the others are. That's the plan, right? Right? Yeah, he's cute. Someday I'll tell you about. I used to know a Hans Macaw here in town, and I'll tell you about her some other time. It's 30 minutes, 31, almost 32 minutes long. So yeah, it's long enough. By the way, little thing, they're also called red-shouldered macaws, and they're also, although there's another macaw, I think it's the Noble's macaw, that's also called the red-shouldered macaw. So they're very similar. I think they're in the same. They're in the same family. They might be even the same genus. I don't remember. It was late Monday night when I was reading all this. But the Hans is the smallest of the macaws. But they really are. They are a true macaw, with the voice, and all the aspects of macaw life. So, just smaller food, body size, and volume, voice volume. So, I will end this now so I can get him back into his cage before my parents come back from grocery shopping, so that everything's secure. I have a Yum box right there. Right there. Right there. So I have a Yum box in there, and I'm hoping to get that done. We'll see. No promises. By next Wednesday. I miss Lemon. I loved him. I will always miss him. There will always be a space in my heart for him. But I now I have room for more. I always have room for more. And, so say bye to everybody. They'll all be nice. They'll all be happy to meet you. Yep. Yeah. So, we'll see if we can teach them stuff. Good stuff. You ready to learn stuff? I have not had a shoulder bird for a long time, let me tell you. So, this feels good. See you around. I've got a pretty simple yet exciting video planned for Sunday, and if all goes well, the one after that could be one of my best ever. We'll see if it works out. You see if it's even that week. So I'll read you all in the comments. I love comments. I love comments. And see you around. See you here, there, everywhere, whatever. So yeah. Bye.